was 12 years old, and circumstance had it that I would meet my first very close friend. You know, our families got together, and he and I would hang out, and we formed a little bond. Interesting enough, though, when we first met, we didn't instantly share this, and there was a bit of a character difference. I was a more like a smaller kid, softer. He was a lot rougher, but due to age and just the circumstances, we started hanging out together, and eventually we even went to the same school. And every day we'd hang out together at the school, and we became closer. That age when you're 13, 14, and you're going through puberty, and you start wooing the same girls and talking about these ideas you have of the future. And you start saying things like, hey, one day in the future, when you have your family and I have my family, we'll buy next to each other in the same street, and then our kids will play. You start building that idea of that good friendship. We're together through thick and thin. And indeed, we were very close. High school had it, and we graduated. I went to a different university than he did. By the second year of university, we started to go apart. And at first, I didn't know why. I couldn't understand it. I'd call, and he would seem a little bit busy and wouldn't give the time. There'd be problems out of things I didn't consider problems. But it was the case, and eventually by maximum third year of uni, I can't even remember if we made it that far, we totally stopped talking. He had his own life, I had my own life. And it really hurt me at the time. Right now I speak about it in terms of the topic and the theme, but at the time it really hurt. And I never understood, how could you have so much memories with somebody, especially a friend, and then it's all over. You're replaced by a totally different world for them. And it came to me that actually some friends are circumstantial. And you need to understand this. Circumstantial means there's a particular circumstance that puts you together. Now of course, you're living your life. You don't know that this is a circumstance. You think this is it, this is life. But it's a particular circumstance that brings you together. Once those circumstances are finished, your relationship is also finished. Think about it like you're at school, your school friends. Think about it, you're at work. That happens. You're in a relationship, and for example, your wife or your husband, they have a family, and then you have a relationship with them. A lot of times after that relationship, if a divorce was to happen, for example, there's a high possibility that these relationships might not go on because they're linked to a particular circumstance. So circumstantial friends, it's a bit hard to predict because you don't know that you're going through a circumstance. But what I would do to see, are these my friends or are they circumstantial, is you line it up in your mind as best as you can. This one is quite difficult to predict, as I said, but in your mind, have a look, start removing certain circumstances in your mind. If I was not at this school, would I be friends with this person? If I was not at this work, at this job, would this person be my friend? If I was not in this family unit, would this person be somebody I would be acquainted with? Once you do that, you can start asking, you can start seeing, is this a friend or not? Some are more obvious than others, some are more difficult. For example, the one about my friend, that was probably a more difficult one. It was very difficult for me to say that this was circumstantial. Whereas now looking back, I can see that the way we met, most likely it was circumstance that brought us together, rather than two people who develop a relationship and are able to mature through it. Remember, a friendship definitely requires time. There's no best friend, there's no close friend. within the first day. You might click with somebody very well, but do they stand the test of time? Do they stand through the ups and through the downs? You can never tell a friend straight away. It requires that testing. So you're sitting there and your phone rings. Grab the phone. It's my friend. Hello, how you doing? Hey, I'm quite bored. What are you doing? Want to do something? Usually when you hear that from someone, especially if it's a recurring thing, I would think about this, because it means this person, generally it means they're empty. Empty means they don't know what to do with their time, and they need to fill their time with something. And that's where you come in. It's like, hey, I'm having a shit time. Can you fill my time with something? Can you entertain me? Now, there's nothing wrong with entertaining a friend, but the attitude of the boredom, especially once you're full grown, like, okay, when you're 15, 16, 18 even, that's fine. It's expected at that age. But once you're full grown, you should have a particular life. And that's very important for friends. If your friend has a full life and they fit you in to that full life, that's a sign of a good friend. If their life is missing, most likely you're going to be expendable. The moment they start filling in, or let's just say, for example, that friend gets a new career, most likely they'll axe you. If they get a new partner, most likely they'll axe you. If they get a new friend group, and so on. That's why boredom, you're looking at them, it's like, I got no choices. I'm coming to you. And a good friend is more like royalty. A good friend is like, I have the best of the best, and I want to give you part of the best of the best. Can it happen that you transition from, let's just say, for example, you're friends with someone when you're 18, and that boredom phase is fine, and then you transition to the next part of your life? Is it possible that they become solid friends? Yeah, it is possible. But until that transition, that's the test of time that we spoke about before. As life goes on and you start achieving and conquering and, moving to new places, you get people who turn out to be celebrators. They look at you and they're like, you know what, that's great. And sometimes what you might have done, you might not think it's that big of a deal, but they say to you, they make you feel like you've done something. Those people, they're pushing you forward in life. And then you got the other ones. These ones, they look at what you've done and they're like, what you've done, it's okay. So and so's already done that. So and so's already done that. Yeah, it's not as good as what that person did. Oh, you did that course. Well, that person did a course that's harder. Those people, they're trying to set you back. And that, when you see that, you got to understand this person's not happy for your push forward. So if they're not happy for you moving forward, what are they doing? They're setting you back. Not a friend. A friend never disrespects you. Not in person, not in a group setting. Never. Criticism is allowed, and criticism is not disrespect if it's positive. The aim of criticism is to make things grow to a positive, to build stronger. That's fine. You need that. And think about it. If somebody disrespects you, it means one of two things. Either they don't respect themselves, and if they don't respect themselves, they don't respect you. Or two, if they don't respect you, it means that they don't view you as an extension of themselves. They don't see that you and them are a unit. That is not a sign of a friend. As a friend, I'm with you. If somebody offends you, I get offended for you. I stick up for you. That's what else is a friend. If we're in a scenario and you're talking and there's a third party present and you're saying something, I make sure to never belittle you in front of others. I make sure to not disrespect you. I make sure that your status is held up high because your status is my status. It's a selfish reason, and you need that selfishness. That selfishness proves that I see you as me. Disrespect, never. No exception to that. Friends set boundaries. Now, the boundaries are not always talked about. They can just develop out of understanding. Example, you have a friend who's very, very enthusiastic about fitness and health. That friend might not be the friend that you will go out drinking with. They might not like to stay up. They might have windows of time where they eat and windows of time where they don't eat. And you cannot be competing with them on that and telling them, oh, you shouldn't be health conscious. That's who they are. Respect it. Life is not just about that friendship. There are other things going on. Your friend might have a family. They might have projects they're working on. You can't be competing with those things. Setting boundaries is knowing, hey, this person needs that time for themselves or for whatever else they're doing. And there's this little bit of time that's for us. And you're going to go through phases in life where they might need extra time with their family, not with you. They might need extra time with their job, not with you. A good friend, because they've set healthy boundaries built on good emotional maturity, they will not be offended by this. Don't let money get between you and your friends. You must have heard this saying before. And I've even heard people say, I'll never do business or talk money with friends because I'll risk losing them. And you know what? They're right. You will lose friends with money. But let me tell you something else. Money is a great way to uncover real, authentic people from fake people. Because money is more than talk. If you put your money down, you're investing. And money is a personal thing. It's more than just monetary value. It's you putting yourself in there. Story. A friend of mine got into the share market. This was around the COVID era. And he made wins, and he was so excited to share with us all his wins, and he wanted to get us all in. And he, came to me and told me about inflation, told me you got to let your money work while you're sleeping. And I was bought in, and so were a few other people. And I was like, sign me up. And we got in. And naturally, if you know the nature of the stock market, it's going to go up, going to go down. When it went down, the other people got very offended to the point where it affected relationships. It's like, you made me lose money. And this, I believe, is a filtering system. Money is a great way to filter people out. If you need to watch out how you deal with money with people, then it means you don't have trust in that person, and that's fine. It means you've identified a limitation. But just know it's a limitation, and know that you don't trust that person. You think that that person doesn't have your best interest. Someone who's only present in your good times. When you're in a tough situation, they're nowhere to be seen. Not your friend. A good friend is a good listener. Sometimes in life, when we speak, we don't want an opinion. We just want to express ourselves. And the point of expressing yourself is that you get to know, what am I thinking? What am I going through? And a good listener will listen and not judge. This next bit, to be in a space where you're not judged, that is a rarity. And if you find that, you found a treasure. That's why they used to say, he who finds a friend finds a treasure. Ultimately, friends are a rare phenomena. There's a reason why there's so many songs about friendships and betrayals and, all this. It's a rare phenomena. And if you find one person like that, you're very lucky, because it means you have a place, a safe space to be in. You have a place to grow. You have a place to express yourself authentically. And those things are invaluable. They're worth more than money. Now, does this mean that if you don't find these things we spoke about, you shouldn't have any friends? No, that doesn't mean that. It just means you should identify and know, just be aware that this person, if I say this to, they'll be offended. They're not a real friend, they're transient. This person is circumstantial. They like me because of 1, 2, 3. This person, I can't depend on them. Now, what you do is you build healthy relationships, and those are important. but you just need to know so that one day, if you get deceived by them, you don't feel that you're broken down. There's a beautiful quote that I once heard. It is not that the loyal betrayed your trust, it is that you trusted the disloyal. Wow. Think about that. Someone who betrays you, it's because they were not trustworthy ever, and you put your trust in them. When you trust the wrong person for the wrong things, it's gonna turn back on you in a bad way. So this is why we need to look for these signs, and we need to identify where people stand. Identify who the real friend is and who not the real friend is. Keep relationships, but relationships are different.